Hello everybody, welcome back here to the channel. My name's Scott. It's great to be here and great to have you back here again. We have a request from one of our faithful viewers, and I'd like to follow up on his request. And his request is numbers related. So today we're going to work on fractions and also decimals. And I'm going to throw in one here on rounding up and rounding down and rounding off, basically. That's what we're going to work on in this today's episode, is on numbers. Let's go to the fractions first. Now, the fractions, which are going to be up here very shortly, I'd like to give how to read these fractions. The reading is quite different than it is done in Japan in Japanese. So the first one is going to be half or a half, which maybe doesn't pose a problem there because that's a common word to use in in English and in Japanese as well. Half, a half. Now the next one here is you can see the 1, our slash, and the 3. And how that is read is 1/3 or a third is possible as well. 1/3, a third. Continuing on here, 1/4. But 1/4 can also be a fourth, and it also can be 1/4. So 1/4, 1/4, a fourth, a quarter. They're all fine there. Okay. Again, the higher number is spoken first. Now the higher number, the one above is given as a cardinal number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the bottom number is given as an ordinal number, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So in that case, 1/3, a third, 1/4, a fourth. Likewise, 1/7, a seventh, okay? Now we notice that we have the 1 and the 7th and the 1 and the 5th and the 1 and the 3rd. Now if I put the higher number on the upper part, like a 2, and the lower number is a 3, now notice the difference here. A third, 1/3 becomes 2/3, 2/3. Notice that I have the S after the D there, which is mandatory. So a third, 2/3. Now you cannot say a third and 1/3, but in the case of the 2, it can only be spoken as 2/3. Likewise, 2/5 or 2/7. Now this might pose a problem in that pronunciation on that ordinal number on the bottom. I'm going to get that pronunciation one more time. So 5/5, fifths. I have my FIF, TH, and an S there at the end, which may pose a little bit challenging for pronunciation purposes, but that's the way it's pronounced. Let's practice on that. Fifths, sixths. So 5/6. It sounds like a mouthful, and it is, but hopefully you can work out that pronunciation that way. 5/7, 5/7, 5/8. Now I get that, making that TH sound. I'm also making the S that follows it. And I want to do a little bit of pronunciation practice on that as well. So let's work on these fractions, not only how to say them, but how to pronounce them properly. So I'm going to give this situation, I'm going to give a 2. So I'm going to say 2/3, 2/4, but I'll bring that down to a half. Okay, 2/5, 2/6. But I'll bring that down to a third. 2/7. Can you catch and also notice when I say that pronunciation of these words as well, I'm making that proper TH and the proper S that follows it. So one more time here. 2/5, 2/6 equals 1/3. 2/7, 2/8, which equals a quarter. 2/9. Okay. Let's work on if we're using those fractions and making the proper pronunciation as well. Not only how to read them, but how to pronounce them. Very vital. Okay, everybody? Now, one more for the fraction. Now, sometimes you have a number before a fraction. How that is read is read that number first and then the fraction that follows. So, on the board here, 2 3/5. 2 3/5. Got a lot of THs in that one as well. My 3 and my fifths. 2 3/5. Okay, everybody? How to read these, and let's work on the pronunciation of these as well when the situation does come up. Now, likewise, I mentioned before a quarter. Of course, 3/4 can also be 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, a half. Okay, everybody? That's on the fractions. Now I want to work on the decimals. So when you have the numbers and a decimal point and numbers that follow, the first numbers are read as is. What I mean as is, if I have the number 5.1, like here, 5.1. Now if I have the number 52.1, that's 52.1 is fine. Or 520.1, and that's fine. Now the numbers that follow decimal point cannot, have to be read individually. So I have my 5.1, the next one here, 6.95, 6.95, not 6.95. Seems like it would be okay, but sorry, it's not, 6.95. And if I have a longer decimal one, for example, 42.74893, that's a lot of numbers there, but they're all read individually in that case. That's the way you read it on the decimals. So 42.74893. Okay, that's on the decimals. The key there is any number that comes after the decimal has to be read individually. Just remember that point, you'll be fine. And I'm going to throw in one here. I'm going to throw this in. This was not requested, but since I'm working on numbers, I want to work on the English, what we'd say in English to, if you have a number and you want to bring it up higher or bring it down lower to a main number, in that case, not with a lot of numbers after the decimal point, we can round it off. So round off means to bring it to the higher or sometimes bring it to the lower. So for example, on the board here, 14.75 can be rounded off to 15, okay? That could be round off, and also in English we could say round up, okay? Now, if I'm a little bit lower, like 55.12, I could round down that number to 55 only and take away the decimal 0.12. So in English, we're going to use the words, the phrasal verb I want to say, round off and round up or round down. So round off in that regard for numbers, okay? Just wrap it all up here. I'm just going to put 3 more examples on the board. So we had a fraction like, and I'll give you a sentence as well. So 3/5 of the students brought their own lunches. 3/5 of the students brought their own lunches, for example. And a decimal point, like 65.82, okay? Now when it comes to, for example, I just want to put this one as well. If it comes to amounts for dollars and cents in America, so in that case, you don't need to say the decimal point. How that would be read would be, for example, $6.95, not $6.95, not $6.95 cents, okay? $6.95. And lastly, to round it off. So 18.52 can be rounded up to 19 in that case. I got lost on my number. But that's the round off, round up, or round down. Okay, everybody? That's the work today on the fractions. I hope that answers our faithful viewers' request. And if you have any questions or anything you'd like to learn from this channel, we would be most pleased to help you with any requests or needs that you have. So please do contact us, comment, like us, and subscribe us, and let us know how we're doing. Until then, everybody, keep watching and keep up the great work. We'll be back here again soon.